Go ahead.
What is your school mascot and colors?
What are your school mascot and school colors?
Yeah, we are actually the Ohio State University Buckeyes. And I've got my Buckeye necklace on here. You can actually see a Buckeye is a poisonous nut, and it comes from our state tree. So they come in these big green casings, and then when you pull out the middle, this is what it looks like here. So everywhere you go, these are very popular. People have these Buckeye necklaces.
Excellent.
And it's nice because people will make homemade Buckeyes where they take peanut butter and they roll it up and then dip it into chocolate to look like this. And our colors are scarlet and gray. We were actually going to go with black and orange, kind of like how the Ohio was set up with the Browns and the Bengals. But when the Board of Trustees went to set that up, they found out that Princeton already had those colors, so we went with scarlet and gray.
Excellent. Yeah, Sarah, go ahead, Sarah. You can show them the sign.
How big?
No, your sign.
Oh.
Sarah asked to print out this sign for you, and she was asking me why there is a nut and a leaf on the O, and I was telling her, I think you're going to find that out when we do the interview today.
Yes, that leaf is actually from the Buckeye trees, so Sarah, I like it. It looks very, very nice.
Now, Josh is a big college football fan, and he was telling me that a lot of times he sees your mascot, Brutus, on the sidelines. Yes. Now, Brutus is, in fact, a Buckeye, correct?
Yes, Josh would actually fit in very well here in Ohio if he's a college football fan. Brutus is our mascot, and it was funny, back in like the 50s and 60s when they first went to a mascot, the whole mascot was just one big Buckeye, so it was one big ball. And then now they've got Brutus is in his scarlet and gray stripes with football pads on under. He wears that for every event and has the big Buckeye head on.
Excellent. Go ahead, Matthew. You can go to number 3.
How many students attend your school?
How big is Ohio State?
Yeah, we are actually the 3rd largest college in the country. So when you look at our undergraduate students plus our graduate students, so graduate students meant they went to college, did 4 years, but still wanted to pursue something further. So we've got 43,000 undergraduate students. So that's what you would typically hear of with college students. But 56,000 students can say that they attend the Ohio State University.
You know, this is you will be our 2nd school this year that we've talked to are in the top 5 as far as largest schools. We talked to Texas A&M earlier in the week. Yep. And both of you are over 50,000 student body strong. And to me, that's almost unfathomable. I mean, I went to a smaller school of about 4,000 to 6,000 students. I mean, to hear that number to me is, I mean, it's unbelievable to think of that many students on one campus.
And that's the thing that really took me back a little bit, is when we talk about the numbers and the sheer size and volume. But it's still really nice because I will walk across campus and I'll see some of our university ambassadors or just friends I know. So it is nice because you've always got things going on, but you are still running into people that you know. And we really want to make sure that you still have that community feeling. But to kind of give you a sense for how large Ohio State is, on our campus we have a little over 400 buildings in the whole Ohio State University system. We have our own power plant on campus here. We have 17 libraries and 4 recreational facilities. Our one rec center is the largest recreational facility of any college campus in the country, and we have over 6 million books on our campus.
Wow.
So a lot of things going on.
So you have to ask the next question, Sarah, because I have a feeling it's going to be very high. Go ahead.
How big are your class size?
So how big are your class size with 50?
Yeah,
60?
actually, they're not as big as what you would think. Only 7% of our classes ever get over 100 students, and 70% of our classes are under 50. So what happens is we have 175 different majors. So once those students get out of their freshman classes, they go in and they split through all of those programs. So the programs do get a lot smaller. Where you might run into your big classes would be that first year, maybe biology class, because a lot of the first year students are taking those same courses. So it would not be uncommon for that first year biology class to maybe be 500 students in the lecture hall. And then you might have that class Monday and Wednesday. But then on Tuesday and Thursday, you break into smaller groups called recitation, where you would have a graduate student that is working towards that field, and you might be in there with that student with maybe 20 to 25 other students.
I often tell them that, regardless of the size of the school, typically your first year you will have a class with well over 100 to 200 students in it. And I thought that, my only way I could really explain it to them is, had they ever gone to a movie on opening night? Yeah. And when you sit in those movie seats and there's not an empty seat in the entire theater, that's how your college classrooms are sometimes.
Yep, and that sounds about right. The big thing on that is when you sit in the back of that theater, you get to see everyone in front of you, so you see how big it is.
Yeah.
But if you sit in the front, you don't realize how many people are behind you.
And that's been a very common piece of advice that a lot of counselors have given them. When they do go away to school and you're in a large class like that, get as close to the front as possible, because it's going to make it a lot easier for you to pay attention to what the professor is teaching you.
Exactly.
Yep.
How far is your school from Kingsburg, New Jersey?
Yeah, I looked that up right before I got on here, and it looks like if you were to make the drive, it'd be about 8.5 to 9 hours, and it looks like it's pretty much just one or two roads, completely in from New Jersey to Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah, I think it's right directly across the state of Pennsylvania.
Exactly. Yep.
So not too bad. I mean, that 8 hours, it's a doable drive. It's something I think that you guys would be definitely far enough where you would want to stay at school as much as possible. But if there was ever an emergency or you needed to go home, you would certainly have the ability to drive home if you had to.
Yeah, and that's what I try to tell students a lot of times. They're like, I want to go 12 hours away from home. Well, the issue is there are going to be times when there are emergencies or just reasons that you truly need to get back home. So you want to make sure that you can make that drive if you need to. And if you were flying, we've got our own airport here in Columbus, and from the airport to campus is about 10 to 15 minutes.
And then I've flown from Chicago to New Jersey, and that's only about an hour flight or so, an hour and a half flight. So I'm sure it's about the same or even shorter.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
What types of things are there to do on and around your school?
So what types of things are there to do on the campus and then I guess in the town of Columbus itself?
Yeah, that's a great question, and that's what we always tell students, is that a large school means you can have large opportunities. So we've got over 1,000 clubs and organizations for our students to get involved with. And they range from our Student Block O Association, which is like our spirit squad, and then some of my favorites, we've got the Try Bacon Club. So if you love bacon, they are all about the fatty meat known as bacon. And then we've got our Buckeye Barbecue Club, and they go out and they just go to different events that are going on, set up their big pit grills, and they grill out and then sell their meat to the passersby. So fun things like that going on. But we also do a lot with philanthropy. So we have what's called the Buckeye-thon, which is our 24-hour dance marathon. That is all student ran. And this year they raised a record amount, just under $700,000, that they donated to Nationwide Children's Hospital, Excellent. Which is right off campus. We are, once again, a large institution, so that means we can have big speakers come onto campus. And our graduation speaker this year is actually going to be President Obama. And he was on campus, I think, 4 times last year. We had will.i.am in concert, OAR. We've got Bill Hader from SNL will be coming onto campus. And that is just campus itself. Well, we've also got the privilege. I get asked a lot, what is it that you guys offer that the other Big Ten schools might not have? The easiest, I guess most obvious answer is we're located in Columbus. Columbus is actually the 16th largest city in the country. But we're not an urban campus, so our buildings don't mix in with Columbus. We've got our own traditional college campus, but we are located in a major metropolitan area. I love Columbus. It's actually a very great area to live in. We've got 3 different concert venues. We've got a minor league baseball stadium, an ice hockey rink. So we've got a professional hockey team. They're not very good, but we've got one. So you can go check them out, a couple of different theaters. So it is nice because you can get from campus to downtown Columbus in about 10 minutes.
Is that the Blue Jackets?
Yes, we have the lovely Blue Jackets, and they did have points, and I think their last 7 games up until I think the point streak is still continued after they lost to the Blackhawks in a shootout last night.
I think when you think about the Big Ten, I mean, now that Ohio State is always on the top of that list, and a lot of people around here will automatically start to think about Penn State, and you guys I know have a rivalry with them, but they. I have a very good friend of mine who is a professor at Penn State, and he teaches out there. And I've gone out several times. In Penn State, it's really a town built around the school, where I feel like Ohio State, even though you're so close proximity-wise to the city of Columbus, it's its own individual entity.
Exactly. Yep. So we've got nice shops and restaurants that are built up around campus, but we still have the city that would be there even if we weren't here.
Excellent. And I think, too, we've talked to some schools like NC State and Georgia Tech, whose campus is what they would consider urban, where they're actually the city is built up around the campus there, and some of their buildings might even be, in high-rises in the city itself. And to have it so close to a city but have its own campus is really something neat.
Yeah, and it's nice because you get the best of both worlds. You get to have your own college campus, but then you do have that city life right outside of you if you'd like it too. And the one thing that I can tell you, because I do a lot of travel to the East Coast, I travel Boston and then the state of Connecticut, we don't have near the traffic that I've noticed out there. So we've got the big town feel without some of the drawbacks of being in a large city.
What do most students do on the weekends?
So being that we're about 8 hours away, chances are we'll be staying on campus on the weekends. So what do most students at Ohio State do on the weekends?
Yeah, that's all part of our campus activity board and being in the center of Columbus. So we have what's called our student activity board, and they've got a calendar of events that are going on every single day. And they also have a program called D-Tix, which is discounted tickets. Now, I'm not sure how familiar you are with Ohio, but we've got the #1 amusement park in the world. It is located about 2.5 hours north of us, Cedar Point. We've got the #1 zoo in the country. So San Diego might have us beat on the weather, but we've got them beat with the #1 zoo, which is going to be about 15 minutes away from campus. And then you've got all of the restaurants and the art galleries and just the local flair that we have right around campus as well.
Now, does the school provide busing out to those different venues?
Yeah, actually, we've got our own buses that run around campus 24/7, and students just jump on those and go. And then we have what's called the COTA, which is the Central Ohio Transportation Authority, which are busing systems that run all the way around Central Ohio. So students pay $9 a semester to be able to utilize that. So you get on, you swipe your ID card, and then they will take you around the entire city.
Excellent. Hayden, your turn.
What types of sports are offered at your school?
That's like lobbing me up one so I can hit it out. we actually have more varsity sports than any other university in the country. So we have the largest athletic department, and we have 36 different varsity sports.
Wow.
So a lot of people hear about us from football or basketball, but they might not know that our women's synchronized swimming team has won 27 national championships. And that our men's and women's fencing team are both two-time defending national champions.
It's funny. It's speaking to some other schools. They've mentioned sports like equestrian and fencing and things like that. And those are sports that we wouldn't even really have any. We've never even participated in or had any experience with here. And the opportunity for them at these schools are unbelievable. And they said even with some sports like that, especially fencing, a lot of times they don't offer scholarships for them, even though it's a varsity sport. It's all walk-on. And if you have the ability to kind of to pick it up quick enough, you could be on the varsity team.
Yeah, and I have a situation like that with one of our women's varsity crew team. There was a student that would just go out and watch them practice, and we've got a river right back behind campus, and that's where they row. And she was just hanging out, and the coach approached her and said, "You look like you're athletic. You look like you're very interested. Is this something you've ever given thought to?" So like, no, I've never tried it. Well, she tried out for the team, did make it, and actually did get an athletic scholarship for that.
Excellent.
Yep. We also have the largest intramural program of any college in the country as well. So that means if you play basketball in high school, you play volleyball, and you might not want to pursue that as a varsity athletic, you can actually do intramurals where you might get with students that are on your floor or in your same building or in a club that you're a part of, and you can play in these intramurals, so you play other Ohio State students.
Now, do you also offer club sports, like for people who maybe don't have the ability to play varsity level, but want to have the ability to travel and play other schools, but don't want to have the intramural where it's only Ohio State students are playing?
Yeah, we do have a vast club sport program as well. I know men's and women's ice hockey's on that, roller hockey's, and that basketball. There is volleyball, ultimate frisbee. So those would be sports that you would try out for as well. And you actually represent the Ohio State University, so you travel across the country to participate in these athletics as well.
Excellent.
Do you have any rivals?
Do you have any rivals?
No, we don't. We used to, and then they don't exist anymore. We have actually been voted as having the #1 rival in all of college football. It is actually us and then the University of Michigan, or as we refer to them as that school up north. So Michigan, the University of Michigan is located about 4 hours north of us, and they have taken to calling us Ohio. So instead of Ohio State, they just simply call us Ohio. And the funny thing about that is in the NCAA men's basketball tournament last year, they actually lost to Ohio University. So they've been putting them down for so long that they were able to get up on them. But we both very proud schools. Our traditions go back hundreds of years with academics as well as athletics, and their football stadium holds about 108,000 people, and ours holds about 106,000, and we sell out every single time that we play them. So it's one of those things that it's very, very nice to have something to look forward to every year. And I know in our football weight room here, they have a countdown clock. So at any point in time, you can go in that weight room and see how many months, days, hours, minutes, and seconds it is until kickoff for Michigan next year.
Now, is that the big game? Is the reference there?
Yep. So that's what they call it every single year. It's going to be the last regular season game each year, and we did always kick off at noon. And then a few years back, they did a 7 o'clock kickoff when we were #1 of the country and they were #2. We ended up beating them 42-39, and we went on to the national championship.
So do you love it, the fact that I put the Michigan logo right underneath the Ohio State logo out there?
Thank you very much. We definitely appreciate that. So, yes, it is. It's funny because we've got Toledo is located in Ohio, but it's about 45 minutes away from Ann Arbor, where Michigan's located, and about 3 hours away from Columbus. So they've got stores up in Toledo where half of the store is divided. So you've got Michigan stuff on one half and Ohio State on the other half. And they've got stories of Ohio State fans going in and not wanting to touch the Michigan stuff, or having to buy something for a relative and making somebody else grab it and bag it up for them.
I think, too, a lot of times, around here, I mean, college football is big. Rutgers has really built its program up in the recent years. But, when you go out to the area in Ohio or out in Pennsylvania near Penn State, I mean, you don't see professional sports apparel at stores. Yeah. It is 100% college apparel.
Exactly. And with us having the Browns and the Bengals, they haven't been very good lately. So everything hinges on the Ohio State University. And for us at OSU, we've got so many students, but we've also have over 500,000 living alums. So 500,000 living alumni. So that kind of network is vast. And there's just this deep pride and spirit that people have here at OSU that just really goes with you no matter where you are.
Excellent. Go ahead, Hayden.
Does your school have any traditions?
Do you have any traditions?
Yeah, we've got a lot of traditions, actually. We have what's called the best tradition.
Will the second lunch group please start making your way down to the cafeteria? Thank you.
It's about lunchtime. I just had a delicious apple before. I got on here. But we do have what is considered the best tradition in college football. It's called Scripting Ohio. And what it is our band, before each game, they come out on the field, and we have the best band in the country, too. So wherever you get that pride or spirit from, it can come from your academics, your athletics, your arts. But our band members will come out, and they play their songs, and they get into all these different shapes. But what they do is they actually spell out the word Ohio in cursive. And then we have the sousaphone player, which is like a large tuba, will run out with the drum major, and they dot the I.
I've seen that quite a few times, and it's absolutely amazing to watch.
It's so cool because with our band, people love band just as much as they love the athletics here. So people get into the stadium 25 minutes before game time because they want to be able to see that. And with 18 minutes to go on the clock before a football game, the football team will run to the center of the field, and then they take off to the student section. Our student section seats about 20,000 people. Well, they have what's called the quick calls now, where the coach blows a whistle, and they put their hands up, and then on the second whistle they go down, and they do all of these motions, and the student section does it right with the team.
Excellent.
Yep, so those are some of our athletic ones, and then the final one that I'll tell you about, because we do have like the Buckeye leaves that go on the helmets. We have the Buckeye trees. Every time we have a first-team All-American, we plant a Buckeye tree for them. But we have what's called our long walk. So you all are going to be many, many years away from this. But on the oval, which is our large green area in the center of campus, we have one sidewalk that expands the length of campus with many other sidewalks cutting through it. And the tradition with the long walk is that if you grab the hand of your loved one and you walk down that sidewalk while the bells are chiming and no one crosses your path, you are destined to be married.
Aww.
Yeah.
I think the Buckeye necklace, too, could be a tradition, too, there at Ohio State.
Exactly. And it's funny because whenever I go out on travel, I will take 2 Buckeyes with me that I got from our All-American trees, because I will go out for 3 to 5 weeks at a time and not come back to Columbus. So it's always a nice reminder for me to be able to reach into my pocket, have those 2 Buckeyes, because it reminds me of Columbus, it reminds me of home, and it reminds me that I'm a part of something that's so much bigger than myself.
Excellent.
What is your school best known for?
So besides football, what is Ohio State best known for?
And that's what's so funny. Whenever we travel across the country, we actually recruit all the way around the world. But the first thing that people always hear about is going to be football or basketball. It's something with our athletics. But what really draws them in is once they get to campus. Campus really sells itself. But our academics, we're the 18th best public institution in the country. We've got the 9th best research institution. So if you're looking at going into anything with the sciences or just advancing your career, research is a great way to be able to do that. And then also everybody always hears about our size. A lot of times they are intimidated by that size. But once you get here, people always see that it's not as big as what they thought it was going to be.
I think, too, sometimes the numbers could be a little bit deceiving. Although you hear those huge numbers, once you get into a dorm, the rest of the dorms aren't really going to seem like they're affecting you at all. You're going to be focused really on your floor and your suite mates or your roommates, and that's going to be your core group of people. And yes, you're going to go to events where you see all these other students, but for the most part, you're going to have your interactions with your friends and your classmates.
Yeah, and what we always try to tell students is don't try to take on that 40,000 all at once. We want you to find your group of 40 inside that 40,000. We're also really known for our president, Dr. Gee. He has been voted the best president in any university in the country. And he is a very old little man that was here for many years, left, and then came back. But he's always known for wearing bow ties. I've met him 4 times. I had to give him my name the first time. I've seen him 3 times since that, and every time he comes up to me and says, "Hey, Andrew, how are you doing?" The tradition there is that before you graduate, you have to get a picture with President Gee.
Excellent. Marissa, your turn. Number 13.
Why do people choose to attend your school?
So when they come out to the Ohio State campus, what is it about Ohio State's campus or the school itself that makes people really want to choose to attend school there?
It's the people. Honestly, we've got the academic program set up. So we've got 175 majors, 475 minors and specializations, 1,000 clubs and organizations. So we've got all this going on, but it's the pride and the spirit that people have here at Ohio State. So you can walk around, and I actually met with a family from New Jersey last summer, and as I was sitting down speaking with them, the dad looks at the son and says, "What is it that they put in the water here?" I was like, "Oh, where is he going with this?" He said, "Everybody's wearing scarlet and gray or has something Ohio State on." It's just that pride and spirit and belonging, something that is so much bigger than yourself.
You know, it's funny that you say that. Our school recently went through a change in administration, and they've really started encouraging the students, especially on different days, to go out and wear certain Titan Pride or the KT logo, and it's nice to see that blue and orange and that logo come around and be seen. So it's kind of gives a whole bunch of new meaning to school spirit.
Yeah, and we've got another tradition. I guess it's called the Buckeye Handshake, where if you walk up to somebody and you say OH, they always reply IO, and you can go anywhere around the world and give an OH and get the IO back. I actually had a friend that did a study abroad in Japan, steps off the plane, walks all the way through the airport, steps outside and says, "Oh, I'll give it a try." In Japan, goes OH, gets 3 IO responses halfway across the world.
Excellent. Go ahead, Marissa.
How big is your campus?
Yeah, the campus is actually very large. I couldn't tell you like acreage or feet or anything because it wouldn't make sense anyways if I did. But I can tell you if you were to walk straight across campus horizontally, it would be about a 12 to 15 minute walk.
Wow, that's actually not as big as I was expecting.
Yeah, and people always think it takes like an hour to get around campus or anything. But the nice part is everything is very well compact. So we don't have a lot of open area between, so a lot of the buildings are right next to each other.
Good. So that's the next one, Marissa.
How do most people get around campus?
How do most people get around?
Yeah, most of the students are just going to walk from class to class. They do have ample time to get from class to class, but the second most popular way would be bikes. You see students on bikes all the time, and we were actually voted as a pedestrian and bicycle-friendly campus.
So you're allowed to bring your bicycles to campus?
You're allowed to bring your bikes to campus?
Yeah, definitely. And if you were coming from New Jersey and you were flying, you might even just buy a bike when you get here because we have so many students that when they graduate, they just want to pass that on to somebody else, so they'll sell you a bike very cheap if you would like to do that as well, if you don't have the opportunity to get yours from New Jersey to Ohio.
Excellent. Good.
What are your most popular majors?
What are the most popular majors as areas of study at the Ohio State University?
We've got a lot of popular academic programs, but just by looking at size alone, business and engineering are going to be our 2 largest programs. But we're top 20 in the country for public schools in engineering, business. Dance is actually number 2 program in the entire country. And our political science program is the 4th best political science program in the world. And then psychology is 17th best for public institutions.
Now, Marissa really wants to go into the fashion industry. So do you have any kind of fashion design or fashion management type of majors over there?
Marissa, you are my girl. And I forgot to tell you all that Columbus was voted the 4th best shopping city in the country. I love to do some shopping. So we go out, we've got malls all around. But if you're looking at doing fashion, we've got you set up with that for sure. Do you guys know the Abercrombie stores?
You ever hear of Abercrombie and Fitch?
I just have a quick
I sure have.
They've got Abercrombie kids.
Yep.
But the person that started all of those, Les Wexner, graduated from Ohio State. So he actually started the limited brands, Victoria's Secret, Abercrombie and Fitch, Express. So all of these big stores, Express and Abercrombie are actually headquartered about 20 minutes away from campus, and he was the president of our board of trustees just up until a couple months ago. So we've great connections if you'd like to do anything with fashion.
I was going to say, I'm sure a lot of your students get internships over at those different facilities.
Exactly. Then they are getting hired on after they graduate too, full time.
Excellent. Go ahead, sir. You're going to ask about the major you were interested in.
Yeah.
She wants to be a horse trainer. She wants to work with horses to either for horse animal therapy or for riding itself.
We were actually known as, at first, was the Ohio Agricultural and Technology Institution. But then we changed to the Ohio State University. So our foundation is on agriculture and technology. And we do have our own vet school, which is located on West Campus. And so that's all of our agriculture and technology over there. And a funny story about that is that actually some cows got loose and ran across campus about 3 years ago. And one of our regional campuses has their own horse stables. So if you'd like to do that, you could do that as well.
Go ahead, ask
Okay. Do you guys do a sport that I love? I love cheerleading. It's like my favorite sport.
Could you imagine cheering in front of 106,000 people?
Wow.
Yeah, that's how it is for our football games. And then for basketball, our arena holds about 19,000 people. So we do have several different cheerleading opportunities for you. And then our club cheerleading team actually goes out and does competitions, so you could do that as well.
And you said you also had a spirit squad too, who I'm sure are like cheerleaders that just get to attend the sporting events to help rile the crowd up, correct?
Exactly. So our student sections, once again, it's all about that pride and that spirit and the passion that our students have. When we played Michigan State at home just a few weeks ago, the game was on Sunday at 4. And I drove by campus at noon on Saturday, and students had camped out, so they had tents pitched right outside of the basketball arena, trying to get the best seats possible.
Excellent. Go ahead, Hayden.
Do you have any designing clubs?
What is it that you would like to design?
Like, did you want to do fashion design? Did you want to design things like bridges or buildings? What kind of fashion design?
Yeah, once again, it's all about those connections that we have with Limited Brand and being in Columbus, because you know fashion comes from the large cities. So you've got the opportunity to go out and work with all these different fashion retailers, and actually the Limited Brand, which is the largest retailer in the world, started about 5 minutes off campus. So we've got those 1,000 clubs and organizations, and I know that at least 2 of them have put on fashion shows recently, so you can do that if you'd like. But if you look at all those clubs and you don't find the one that you love, you can start your own club or organization very easy. It just takes you, 5 other interested students, and then 1 faculty or staff advisor.
Excellent. So even if you went there and you didn't have a fashion design club, if you made friends in your dorm, you guys can get together, find a professor who's interested, and create your own club. Go ahead, Josh.
Which one?
Top one.
What is the cost of your school?
So what's the cost of Ohio State?
Yeah, actually, we are a public institution, so we do have different costs for in-state versus out-of-state students. So for you guys being out-of-state students, this year the cost for that was $35,000. So that's going to be your tuition, fees, room, board, everything. So top price is $35,000. But for our students coming from out-of-state, if you are just an average student that we admit, instantly we can knock off $14,000 from that price with our merit-based scholarships. So we were voted as the 11th best buy of any college or university in the country. So students are getting the value.
And I think, that number 35,000 kind of jumps out. It might be a little scary at first.
Very scary.
When you talk to even some of our in-state schools, that cost is similar to what it would cost to go to the Ohio State University.
And that's why we have those scholarships in place, because we never want financing your education to be the ultimate decision. So we want to make sure that we are competitive with those other schools so that you can choose what's going to be the best fit for you.
Excellent. Go ahead, Josh.
Do you offer scholarships?
So besides the merit scholarship, are there other scholarships available to students?
Yeah, so I just told you about 2 of them real quickly, our National Buckeye and then our Provost Award. But we've got other merit-based scholarships that just simply come from your grades and then that big test score. And we have what's called our endowed scholarship. So I told you we've got 500,000 living alums, and they donate money back to the university. So we will run you through a database when you apply. And it might say, somebody 10 years ago could say that I would like to give a $10,000 scholarship to a student from New Jersey that has blue eyes and is looking at training horses. when they graduate. Well, if nobody fits that, we just hold on to that money until somebody actually does come, and I promise they do get that specific.
Excellent. Go ahead, Josh.
Do you have any famous
Alumni.
alumni?
Any famous graduates from the Ohio State? I know you mentioned the gentleman who founded all the different fashion clothing industry, but I'm sure there's got to be more with that many students.
Yeah, we actually, that was Les Wexner that started the limited brand there. We actually have Archie Griffin, and trophy winner. He graduated from Ohio State. I was actually eating lunch the other day and ran into Eddie George. Eddie George won the Heisman Trophy as being the best college football player in the country just a few years back as well. So we've got these alumni that are doing big things for the university, and they always are trying to tell others about what OSU is doing as well.
Excellent.
What do you like most about your school?
Now, I imagine you are an alumni of the Ohio State University, correct?
That's a secret that we won't get into.
Oh, okay. Well, how about this? Now that you are working and part of the Buckeye Nation, what do you like most about the Ohio State University?
Yeah, I actually, well, let me tell you one more famous alum that I actually forgot to tell you guys about. The band OAR, very, very popular. Actually met and graduated from OSU. But now working at Ohio State, I just love, once again, that pride and that spirit. And you've always heard about Ohio State, but until you actually get on campus and see what it's all about, you can't explain it. I was in Connecticut in the fall, and I was just driving down the road trying to get to a high school and ended up accidentally following a guy for 20 minutes that had an OSU alum license plate cover. So it's just that pride and that spirit that the entire state of Ohio takes in being a Buckeye.
Excellent. Any other questions? I know I have one, but any other questions? Go ahead, Sarah. Go ahead.
Do you have a roommate?
When you go to school, do you guys have roommates in your dorms, or do you have suites, or is it just one roommate? How does that usually work?
Yeah, we actually have 37 different residence halls. So depending on which one you get, that will really determine the number of roommates that you have. They can run from anywhere to just 2-people rooms to 8-people rooms. And we will have you do a housing survey when you are admitted into the university, and that will say, are you messy, are you clean, do you like stay up at night, do you wake up really early? And then we have one person that pairs all of our roommate assignments together, and she's been doing that for 23 years.
Now, do you guarantee housing for incoming freshmen?
Yeah, all of our first-year students must live on campus, and by the time you all get to high school and looking at Ohio State, we will actually require our students to live on campus for the first 2 years.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
How big are your rooms?
How big are the dorm rooms?
Depending on which one you get into, once again, it's one of those things where if I looked at your room at home, I would say it's probably comparable to that size, but you're probably going to have 2 people in it.
Can I ask you a question? How many sports do you have?
What was the total number of varsity sports?
We've got 36 varsity sports.
Yes. Go ahead, Josh.
How many people often get scholarships for playing the sport?
Oh, that's a great question. How many scholarships do you give out for athletics?
Yeah, that's a very good question. We actually have 7,000 incoming freshmen each year. So a very large number. So I'm really not positive on how many get the athletic scholarships, but I would say it's just one of those things that if a student sticks out either athletically, academically, or in the arts, we do give scholarships for instruments, playing an instrument, singing, dancing. So anything that you excel in, you can get a scholarship for.
Wow, that's big.
Excellent. Good.
Do you have any dorm room stores? Like where you get to shop at for dorm stuff?
If you were on campus and you needed to furnish your dorm, are there stores on campus where you could buy things for your dorm room?
Yeah, we've got all kinds of different shopping centers right on campus. We have a large Barnes & Noble, which is our official bookstore that you can find everything. But there's a Target located 5 minutes down the road. And we have all these different little shops that are set up solely selling Ohio State apparel. And they're located right across the street from campus. And they want to be able to serve the 56,000 students that we have here.
Go ahead, Maris.
How many nurses do you have?
Oh, do you have a hospital, or are you in the general area of a hospital on your campus?
Yeah, that's another nice thing that really OSU is really known for is we have the #1 teaching hospital in the entire country. So if you were going into nursing or wanted to be a doctor and you had to go to your clinicals, you wouldn't drive anywhere. You would walk right across campus to be able to get to do those clinicals. We have our own breast cancer research center. We've got our own children's hospital. And then being located in Columbus, everywhere you turn around, there's going to be another hospital right there.
Excellent. Now, I have a question for you. You guys can pick your signs
sir.
up. We've got these Ohio State signs here, and we want to be, we want to get some spirit for the OSU spirit here in Keansburg. Now, are there a cheer or a chant that we can learn that's something simple that we could practice here in Keansburg with our signs?
Yes, but you're going to have to put the signs down.
Okay, put them down.
Okay, I'm going to teach you that Buckeye handshake that we talked about.
Uh-oh, here we go.
Our hand motions that go with that. So you've got O, H, I, O. There you go.
All right.
So I say OH. I need you girls, and Josh and Scott, I need you guys to reply IO, okay? So let's give this a try. OH.
I-O.
There you go. We'll try it again. OH.
I-O.
One more time. OH.
I-O.
I love it. You are all official Buckeyes now. And it's funny, in our football stadium, once again, with over 100,000 people, we do a chant where one side of the stadium will do O, the other one does H, the other one does I, and then we go back to O. And the hand motions I taught you all, we get hundreds of pictures from that a day. And the most popular one is using the Eiffel Tower as the I. So anywhere you go, you'll see those OHIO pictures, and those are all on our website and very, very cool to look
Excellent.
at.
All right, go ahead, Hayden.
Do you have pools at Ohio State?
Do you have pools at Ohio State?
We have pools at Ohio State, yes. In our rec center that I was telling you about, that was the largest one of any college campus in the country. We have a pool that everyone always freaks out about because the floor actually will raise or lower depending on what they're doing in it. So if they're doing diving competitions, they lower the floor, add more water so it can be deeper. Or if they're having adult swim classes or kids swim classes, they raise up the floor, take out the water so that it makes it more shallow.
Go ahead.
Can you have a girl and a girl, or a boy and a boy in a dorm?
Is it co-ed dorms, or is it only one sex that's in the dorm, male or female per floor?
It really depends on what you prefer. With all the different residence halls that we have, you can live in an all-girls dorm or an all-guys dorm, or we'll have some of our residence halls that are set up with guys on one floor and girls on the next.
Excellent. All right, well, I know that quickly, because we're taking a lot of Andrew's time here.
I've got all the time in the world.
All right, go ahead.
Do you have any water parks?
Do you have any water parks near Ohio State?
We've got one that's called Zoombezi Bay. It's actually right with our zoo. And then there's Soak City, which is about 2 hours north, that's connected to that amusement park that I was telling you about.
Excellent. All right. Well, Andrew, I cannot thank you enough. I mean, this is probably one of the most memorable interviews that we've ever done, and I'd like to say it's all because of Ohio State, but I think your knowledge of Ohio State has a lot to do with it. So thank you.
I really appreciate the opportunity to do this and the questions you guys had. Thank you. Remember, keep that Buckeye spirit going, and if you guys ever need anything, please let me know. Okay?
Absolutely. We're gonna get some T-shirts made with our Career Ready College Bound logo here that I created, and we're going to send them one out to you. So I'll shoot you an email and get your shirt size, and they're in the process of being made, and hopefully it'll be within the next week or two or so.
Size?
That would be awesome. I really appreciate that.
All right, let's give them a wave and tell them go Buckeyes.
Go Ohio State!
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.